Hey, I'm Dr. Selena Fisk, and welcome to this episode of Make Data Talk. In this podcast, I help you turn your spreadsheets into stories in a way that is practical, accessible, and hopefully a whole lot more useful than your grade 9 maths textbook. In this episode, I want to talk about the challenge of leadership. I often work with executives or I work with middle leaders, and I don't often work with both at the same time. And I guess I see some real challenges with that. I see some challenges with building the long-term culture when, one group is working in isolation, whether that be the middle leaders or the executives. So this episode is all about that and why it's actually, I reckon it's a leadership team sport that we need to build a data-informed culture. So if you've ever been in that position where you've kind of been in a middle leadership role and you've tried to build a data culture, or any culture really for that matter, from the middle of the organization, you'll kind of understand the feeling, I think, where, you might see the work happening, you might see people are trying really hard, maybe there's progress being made in some areas and some people might be smashing it. And there might be a feeling, I guess, creeping in or underlying all of that, that even though some habits might have changed maybe in your team, you might feel that it's not actually ingrained in the broader organizational culture yet. The definition of culture is what, how we do things around here. And maybe you don't feel that yet about your data culture. So it's going to be really hit and miss, and it's not organization-wide. And as I said, I've seen this a lot in the last kind of 7 years of working in this space full-time. And I've seen it across industries, across organizations of different sizes. And I reckon that there's a common theme that kind of emerged for me and that I've seen across all of those contexts. And the theme is that they don't run into this problem of misalignment because either the senior leaders say don't care or because the middle leaders aren't capable. It's actually because we really underestimate the fact that cultural change needs consistency and alignment between those middle and senior leaders, and we underestimate the impact of that work. So we need, yes, endorsement from the top, but it's effort from the middle leaders that's really going to help the rubber hit the road and really lead cultural change. But between the two and the alignment of the two, we need the shared direction, shared language, shared follow-through. What I see in my, interpretation of a middle leader is that they really are the people who are translating strategy into practice. They're the ones doing the work day to day with their teams and enacting the strategic plan or the annual improvement priorities. They've got the influence, to really shape the routines that their team takes on. They can build confidence. They can turn ideas into habits. And they can be really influential in those people, with those people, because they're working with them day to day. What they can't do, however, is make that big organizational-wide cultural change stick on their own. Because, while they have and can potentially have great influence within their group, they don't have the influence on that broader kind of organization. So what we need to see is change being led from the top, from our executives, but lived in and kind of enacted by the middle, but both of those pieces working at the same time and working together. So in this episode, I want to share 5 reasons that I think, this alignment really determines whether it's a make or break for you in building this culture. And as I said at the beginning, kind of why I think we underestimate this. So reason number 1 is, as I kind of just alluded to, that the top, the executive, set the direction and the middle make it real. So senior leaders kind of hold that bigger picture organizational why around what matters most to the entire organization, what trade-offs are acceptable, and what, the organization, is aiming to become and where they want to move into the future. Their role is really leading their people towards kind of living that vision and mission, working towards whatever's in the strategic plan, the annual improvement plan, and working towards, the goals, aspirations, or the KPIs. On the other hand, middle leaders more so, operate in the how rather than the why. It's the daily and weekly cadence, the rhythms, the conversations, and the day-to-day decisions where culture, actually shows up and where it comes to be formed. When those two layers are aligned, our exec and our middle leaders, the message is then coherent for everybody. Nobody's guessing whether, the data focus is a long-term commitment or a short-term thing or just the focus of their team leader. it's actually seen to be something that's, consistently spoken about from all levels of the leaders. And, the leaders are collectively, exec and middles, are saying, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and this is what it looks like. This is how we're going to do it together. If that alignment's missing, then the why, and we think about if the middle leaders are trying to push it and the exec are kind of, MIA a little bit, the middle leaders are forced to kind of improvise the why, and they're forced to create the why and lead that conversation. And that's problematic, particularly when the exec come out and talk about other priorities, or they talk about different focus areas, thinking that their middle leaders have got it, but actually kind of missing the point that they need to be showing up, continuing the narrative. Reason number 2 is that culture is built through the signals that we lead with, and our signals need consistency. So we know, and we've talked about this lots on the podcast, that a data-informed culture is never just built by, getting the newest tech, having great dashboards built, or, running some data literacy or data storytelling training alone. It's built through that repeated signaling from all levels of leadership. So in this context, we really need to think about what are the questions that leaders are asking? What are the things that in the organization get followed up? What gets celebrated? What's allowed to be messy, unsure? Where is kind of that discomfort allowed? What gets protected when pressure rises? Like when things get really hard, what do we cut and leave versus what actually stays as a priority? So obviously, middle leaders can send really powerful signals around all of those things to their teams, but genuine cultural shifts happen when those signals are consistent across the entire system. So imagine a world where, your people who are working with their middle leader are hearing the same message from that leader as what they're hearing from the executive. And it's consistency in communication, regardless of the mode of communication and regardless of who they're from. The clarity that comes from that is incredibly powerful, and it starts to kind of really build the culture because it's very clearly saying to people, this is what we value, this is what we do here. I guess the other piece is that when we have alignment, the behavior that's being encouraged by one level is then not being contradicted by the other. So I guess the challenge is when an employee is sitting there going, hang on, my middle leader's telling me this, but my executive is talking about this and they're telling me to do this. That's where people really start to struggle and not know what is, I guess, the most important. So those signals are vital in building our data-informed culture. Number 3 is then around priority. That priority is proven for people in the trade-offs we make, and those trade-offs require that shared commitment between the middle and the senior leaders. Obviously, leading data-informed change is a huge time commitment. It's resources. It's a huge amount of attention, shifting habits, shifting practices for all employees. And I guess part of that is in the time that it takes to learn, but to reflect, to be able to revisit decisions, to act on what the data reveals, and kind of lean into that messy middle around, I'm giving this a go, and it looks and feels like this is the next step that we need to take. The data's informing us to kind of head in this direction. We're all busy, right? Like there's no issue around us not having enough things to do. So especially when we're in an organization where urgency is constant and time is really scarce, this signaling around priority is vital in building our culture. So at this time, when time is scarce and when we're in a really high pressure scenario, this is where alignment has to be super practical and evident from middle and senior leaders. When they're aligned and the pressure's on, middle and senior leaders make trade-offs together. They're collectively making decisions about what the teams and organisation are going to stop doing, what we're going to make room for, and what are the non-negotiables around what we have to do. They can identify those and they're in agreement about what meetings or processes need to change or be tweaked or be ditched or enhanced in the current climate. And that then is sending those really clear messages to everybody in the organization about what we're prioritizing and what we value, and therefore building that culture around, well, this is how we do what we do here. Number 4 today is that our middle leaders need the authority to remove barriers, not just the responsibility to deliver on what the execs are asking of them. A really common pattern that I see is that middle leaders are doing excellent work with their teams. They might be improving practices, sharpening their reflections, lifting capability. And sometimes what we see is that there are organizational barriers that are in place that remain untouched, and they limit what our middle leaders are able to do with their teams. So, this, I guess, for me, shows up the most when an organization more broadly does things like, if they reward speed or efficiency over learning, if they have consequences that lead to, I guess, compliance for employees rather than genuine buy in, or if they have systems that make data hard to access or trust, or, for example, if they have processes that genuinely kind of don't use evidence to inform their decisions, if they do any of those things, the senior leaders, the exec, are inadvertently limiting what's possible for their middle leaders and their employees. And therefore, because those processes are contradicting that good work, again, that's going to negatively impact that overall data-informed culture across the organization. The reality is that our middle leaders often can't change some of those conditions and those restrictions, even though they can clearly see them and they might be frustrated by them. So middle leaders need a pathway to be able to bring those things to their senior leaders and say, look, this is an organizational wide priority. I'm trying to do the work, but these are the barriers or these are the hurdles that we're running into. These are the frustrations that people have. So our middle leaders need an avenue and a way of bringing those things to light, because again, if they're genuine barriers and they're genuinely, I guess, running into problems doing the things that they should be doing and their employees should be doing, if they can't make the change, they're going to get frustrated. Employees are going to get frustrated. And look, I've been in the position, I'm sure you've probably been in the position, or you've heard people like this, where a middle leader's going, I know this is what we need to do, but I can't change these kind of compounding factors. And so the issue is, I guess, about when we have that misalignment, we're really disempowering our middle leaders. So we've got to have senior leaders who are willing to have those conversations and help remove those barriers for our middle leaders and our employees. Number 5, our last one for today, is then that the most valuable outcomes is behavioral permission. Permission to give these things a go, give permission for people to be wrong or to get it wrong occasionally. And that culture is created together. That culture is created from our middle leaders and senior leaders being aligned. So what we're trying to do in our data-informed culture is obviously, it's not just that people look at data, it's that people learn from it. It's that people are actually using it to lead change and to do things differently. And that requires behaviors that, many organizations, many leaders, many employees are still practicing. So what we've got to be able to do, and we've got to create this shared culture where we're allowing people to admit uncertainty, or we're encouraging them to change decisions and actions based on new evidence. We want them to surface unexpected results early, discuss outcomes without blame, and treat data as feedback, not just judgment. So yes, middle leaders can create safety in their teams for this to occur, but when this really starts to become organizational wide change, it's when senior leaders are reinforcing that safety. They're modeling it in high stakes spaces, even when, results may be disappointing, they're messy, or when they don't go our way. Again, when employees are hearing that permission to make mistakes from middle leaders and senior leaders, that that behavioral permission for honesty and reflection starts to become contagious. People learn that it's safe to be curious, to ask questions, and it's safe to adapt. And it's when we start to see good practice in teams and employees, and we start to see this almost snowball effect of a data-informed culture beginning and snowballing. So while, and all of these points, I guess, allude to the fact that Our executives are those why people. They're the big people, the big picture strategy people, which is what we need from them. And our middle leaders are the ones who are enacting that strategy day to day. They're the engine of the change. They're the ones who make it operational. And they're the ones who are turning that organizational language, the values, aspirations, and all of that into routines. But those engines still need the steering. They need destination, they need fuel, they need protection when the road gets rough. And that's where our exec step in and where they provide that support and encouragement and consistency in practice. So when the top leads and the middle can translate and there's that connection and alignment, we know that becoming data informed really stops becoming a project and starts becoming the way that decisions are made, and it becomes part of what we do around here. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Make Data Talk. As always, feel free to share this podcast with anybody that you think might find it useful. And, the data and the algos love a cheeky like, subscribe, or rating of the podcast. So if you could do that, I would love you forever. Stay safe and look after yourself.